What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Twink Revolution. I'm Sam,
I'm Gian.
and we're still in quarantine.
Is that really? Oh, I've been going out all the time.
Well, I'm not telling people who are already in quarantine. It's for the Gen
For
Zers.
future generations.
Yeah.
Yeah, remind them what they forgot. Us, the greatest generation.
It's for the Gen A Bers. I don't know how this is gonna work. It's gonna go to numbers after Z.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's like aircraft or airport gate numbering.
I'm gonna start doing
You have to go to the International Terminal Gate 1 generation.
Start doing Russian letters that aren't in the American alphabet,
yeah.
the Phoenician alphabet.
It's fun Cyrillic. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of Russians, happy birthday, Vladimir Ilyich Lenin.
Yeah. Congratulations, dead daddy. Number one. Well, number 3 after Marx and Engels.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Today's Lenin's birthday. Any fun responses to that you've seen? Anybody got any thoughts about Lenin today?
Yeah. Libcom, which is I don't know what it is. It's either a Trotskyist or anarchist or fusion of both. And
No, I think it's a left opposition thing.
whatever. So anarchist, Trotskyist.
Something in that. Yeah, I don't know.
But they tweeted, today was the birth of counter-revolutionary Lenin. And all the things were either just completely ahistorical statements, he mass slaughtered sex workers. For one, there was no term sex worker back then. They were just prostitutes. Also, there was no evidence he killed them.
Mass murdered cam girls.
And then some other stupid shit. And it's oh, if you think Lenin's counter-revolutionary, I'm really excited to see who you think is, of the cause.
Yeah, no, I know. I feel like
We should see their gulag.
it's fair game to criticize dead heroes or whatever, and there's plenty to talk about with Lenin, but the people who are sort of just I don't know, committed to some weird ideological project of trying to paint him in with Stalin as the cause of all our problems.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like a very futile project to me.
Totally. I mean, I think it's why they're so hell-bent on it, because they want to blame some old dead men for why the left is so inefficient versus maybe hyper-individualist anarchist and
Well, there is a certain kind of great man theory of history going on here, right? Which is to say that anyone who wasn't as uniquely evil as Comrade Lenin would have acted differently under these circumstances. And I feel like there was always an interesting thing. God, what's his name? Sessions? Robert? God, I can't remember. Somebody wrote a Trotsky biography. And it was not particularly complimentary to, I don't know, socialism in general.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. But one of the interesting things, right, was talking about there's a pretty broad consensus that had Trotsky taken over control of the USSR rather than Stalin,
Mm-hmm.
He probably would have been forced into doing many of the same things.
Yeah.
And that's maybe not all the same, maybe not the same way, maybe not with the same specifics, but
Or they would have ended faster.
maybe. I mean, who knows, right? But the point being, to not project a sort of the great man theory of history, right? Saying Lenin personally chose to do these things, and that's why history happened.
Yeah.
The arc of history is just simply a series of inflection points where great men make decisions personally, and this is it's kind of the antithetical to the project of dialectical materialism.
See, my policy is just if you're super hot when you were in your 20s, then you're okay in my book. So Ceausescu, baneable, good. Stalin, baneable, good. Che Guevara and Fidel Castro, baneable.
Good work.
Yeah.
And that's praxis.
That's what matters. We got to spread the supreme people's. I'm just kidding. By people, I mean socialist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not racialized, guys.
No, it's a sectarian Marxist Leninism argument.
We're not doing identity politics. But guess who is? Straight women again. As Gian mentioned earlier, it's our continuation of, to me earlier, not on the podcast. That's the continuation of.
Yeah, they can't hear us the rest of the time.
I don't know. Maybe it's like Big Brother.
My NSA listening devices.
I don't know what you guys do.
Well, the article is sorry, not the article.
The
Somebody
tweet.
tweeting was talking about that women can be twinks, as
Yeah.
it turns out.
The tweet says, "I have revised my position and now believe cis women can be twinks as well, because what is the point of gatekeeping that?"
And it could be slightly tongue in cheek, but this is a continuation of
Oh, it's not.
one of our early episodes where it was TikTok girls saying they're bottoms now. I think the whole notion of sort of cultural appropriation is mostly ridiculous unless it's done to us, and now I'm incredibly anti it.
Yeah, I mean, they're so tragic and boring. They have to take everything from the gay men. It's so sad.
Yeah, don't they know the hierarchy of dissemination?
Yeah, it goes gay men, wealthy straight women, poor straight women, wealthy straight men, and then poor men, and then everyone else. That's how it works.
Yeah, shit runs downhill. You know, we have to put up with a lot. So can women be twinks? No.
No, twink means like hairless, like young gay man.
It's
and
to be
thin.
clear, it's often used in a sort of pejorative sense. It's
Yeah.
not a slur, but it's
Well,
rarely used in a complimentary way.
she says below, twink isn't a slur, get over yourself. And I wouldn't
Yeah.
say it's a slur.
It's not a slur.
But I will say that's kind of showing like how little I know about the life of twinks. Our documentary series. No, I'm just kidding. But twink is often used in a certain context of not being in a very nice way. It's very like it's usually like men being like, "Hey, twink," like, and not
It's either used in a sort of fetishistic sense,
or objectifying.
Maybe an objectifying sense. This person I think is being tongue in cheek, but
they're being senile.
but it's not so much a serious question with particularly high stakes, except to say that we at Twink Revolution will gulag you if you misuse the term twink.
Yeah, that's basically like
It's only allowed to be used to refer to us now.
yeah, only us, me and Gian.
Yeah, the two of us. I am not a twink anymore. Like I'm seriously post twink. Like I've aged out of the category a long time ago.
Gian's a twink like once every 2 weeks when he decides to shave his face.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the rest of the time he's not a twink. He's like post twink, but not like fully daddy.
No, just I'm doing the twink to daddy transition with no transitional form.
Yeah.
So can women be twinks? Why would they want to be? Honestly,
Yeah.
What good would it do them?
Being twink.
You would get twink chasers, and they already like don't like that good kind of lecherous male attention. So why would they want that?
Yeah. Twinks don't have any fun, and their life is horrible. Stop trying to marginalize further or already marginalized people. Twink voices matter.
Well, I think to be able to be labeled a twink, you're inviting a certain kind of the male gaze. You are an object. It's an objectifying term.
Yeah, that's why I use it, to empower myself via objectification.
It's Sam's way of objectifying himself and placing himself on sale.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like only other twinks can call you a twink, and it's never in a pejorative sense. But like 90% of the time, anyone else who calls you a twink, it's like never a compliment.
Yeah, no,
like
to be called a twink is almost never complimentary.
Like when I'm out and someone refers to me as that, because I won't be like, oh hey, and I'm like, hey twink. It's like
yes, I've witnessed that. I don't get called a twink anymore, which is rather nice.
Yeah, they're
I
like
used to.
They're like, Grandpa, get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah. Old man, why are you holding up the line?
He gets the twinks who are like, hey daddy, how much money you got?
I learned about this zaddy concept the other day.
Zaddy?
Yeah. I don't know what that is.
I think it's just like
I just said I learned about it. I was like, I heard this concept not that long ago.
it just like
Is it like a stylish
version
thing?
of saying daddy.
Yeah, but no, I don't know. I think it's sort of not an age. I don't know.
I don't know. I've seen
God,
it
this
before
is
too.
dumb. Anyway, yeah, write in if you know
What a zaddy is.
what a zaddy is. Please
Follow us at
please
Twitter.
educate the old man.
You can send us a message at TwinkRev on Twitter.
Yeah.
Give us a follow.
It was my birthday on Monday, and I feel impossibly old now.
Yeah.
That could be the 3-day hangover.
He's only 47.
Only. Wait, am I?
No,
I lost count. Where am I?
He's 32, right?
Am I?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's a youthful 32. You would never guess it. Someone actually messaged to TwinkRev accounts being like, oh, the way you talk about yourself, he thought you were like 40. And I was like, oh.
Who, me or you?
You. Someone thought I was 30. And I was like, have you seen my
Who
pictures?
the fuck is slandering us online? I'm gonna go online bully them right now.
No, someone thought I was 30 for my
I didn't-
birthday. And
I
I was
didn't
like,
see
I'm
this.
25.
God damn it.
And I look like I'm 17 still. So, like,
Yeah, Sam doesn't look legal
Well,
in most jurisdictions.
if I was 30 and looked the way I do, I'd be quite happy with myself. Like, I look great still for like my age.
you certain baby face thing going on.
I see like some 19-year-olds and I'm like, holy fuck, you look like you're 30 years old. Not in a bad way, just like,
Yeah, age is just a number and a signifier of your entire value embodied in a single number.
I'm mentally 50.
I'm mentally 12.
All
What
I
is
do
this?
is like eat food and like sit on by the heaters. Like I'm a chihuahua, guys. That's all I do is I literally sit by heaters and I eat food and I
barks
sleep.
into microphones.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, but speaking of stupid tweets beyond this, that was just a joke. You don't actually care about that.
wait, you didn't? God, I was super animated. I was starting a campaign
Well, yeah, but that's for the money.
for the grift.
Cori Bush, who is running for Congress, she was in the Knock the Down House documentary that AOC was in as well.
I didn't see this.
Oh, it's on Netflix. I watched it. You don't need to watch it. It's quite boring and useless, and they all suck. But she tweeted, sex work is legitimate, period. Forcing someone with no other choice of shelter to engage in survival sex work in order to keep a roof over their head is coercive. Why is it we always criminalize sex workers for experience abuse, but never their abusers? So there's an issue. She just completely contradicts herself like multiple times in that tweet.
Was that a single tweet?
Yes.
Did she have a stroke halfway through?
Yeah. Well,
Wait, so this was in the context of the article that came out about COVID-19 causing an upsurge in landlords demanding sex in lieu of rent payment in legal tender, right?
yeah.
That's how I've been paying my rent.
Perfect. But it's like, oh, for one, like if it's coercive, probably calling it sex work in that same sentence is probably not very positive. That's probably just like,
Well,
I mean, I think all work is coercive, but like, why are you legitimizing coercion?
God damn it, are we doing sex work again?
It's because there's nothing else going on, and there's a really good article we'll talk about after this. I know.
Yeah, I mean, put it this way. Landlords suck. They're terrible. They don't do anything.
This is the wrong topic to focus on. She should be focused on the landlord. It's not making it about like sex workers. Like most of these people aren't sex workers. They're just like women or men who had to have sex to save their house.
To survive. I mean, yeah, this is one of these incredibly dumb, like liberal Overton window framing bullshit questions where like the point here is that the fact that people's homes and lives are endangered by the current economic situation is already obscene, right? It is an obscenity. It's a moral obscenity.
Make a housing statement, not like some like marginal issue that's like a key issue in like DC, SF, and New York. No one else cares about.
Well,
this.
yes, I mean, survival sex work. Yes, yeah, it's a thing.
Horrible.
But the point being, it's already an obscenity. that people's homes, an ability to live under a roof is endangered, or non-existent for many. So then adding an extra weird moral dimension to it to go,
It's legitimate.
like landlords are already scum, right? Landlords who are causing people to lose their homes or their ability to live in a home during this time are already scum. They're scum the rest of the time too. There's no it's not like they're fucking good the rest of the year.
There's no good landlords.
Right. It's rent seeking, and it's like useless dead labor, just parasitic bullshit. So the fact that they then start extracting sex out of people who have no other fucking choices. Yeah, you're like, yeah, of course that's disgusting and horrible. We knew this about them.
All it's doing is like cutting out a single step. Instead of having sex for money and then paying the landlord, you're just giving the sex to the landlord.
Yeah. So anyway, it's hideous.
Like it just, if you're social, like I assume she's identified as social, so she's part of like the Rose.
No, I don't think she is.
Like,
No, I think she's part of a much more lib
I don't know.
lib set.
But she's like a big Bernie person. Whatever. If you're part of like this,
Yeah, that doesn't preclude.
yeah, I know.
Speaking of Bernie bros, you found this article and you sent it to me.
Well, so I found it because a friend of the pod, Heather, posted it, and I saved it. And the article is titled, "Why Won't Woke Boys Pay for Sex? Bernie bros, male feminists, and good guy liberals all support sex work, but for some reason, they aren't paying girls like me for sex."
This is was in Mel magazine, which I just have to read some of the stingers from the front page because I was like, what the fuck is Mel magazine?
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Okay, ready? Here. God damn. Smart and insightful reported features about modern masculinity, says The Goods by Vox. Doing the Lord's work for the AV Club. And then this little gem from the New York Times. The rare men's magazine that has taken upon itself to investigate masculinity, not enforce it. It gets double points for managing to pull off that project with style and charm, not self-seriousness. And here comes the self-seriousness.
Yeah, this article is amazing and horrible.
I can start reading. I'll get bored at some point. Fuck me. All right. 4 months before Violet, a 25-year-old transsexual with dollish cheekbones and a primary color wardrobe, moved to Brooklyn.
Of course she did.
She toyed with the idea of holding a farewell tour in her lifelong home of Portland, Oregon. But of course it was. Her approach to putting a bow on her 20-plus years in a city mocked for its liberal leanings was to collide her two disparate worlds. Her friend circle of jewel-puffing, mulleted Bernie bros, what the fuck, with her recent professional foray into sucking cock for cash. Oh my god, they used to swear, Sam.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. It quotes.
For one, imagine having your farewell to your friends be like, who wants to fuck me for money?
Yeah,
like,
not just fuck them for free, like,
that's not socialist.
Oh god, just all the there's so much to unpack here.
It's
dolish cheekbones and a primary color wardrobe. So it's already sort of linguistically clumsy.
Also, I just want to
moving to Brooklyn at 25, fuck off. Holding it also did not hold a farewell tour. She toyed with the idea of holding a farewell tour. Lives in Portland, cutesy AF. And then her friends, there's a circle of jewel-puffing mulleted. Who the fuck? The ironic mullet thing died out a long time ago. That's not even a thing now.
It's only acceptable if you're Anna Katchian from Red Scare, or you're from the Eastern Bloc. That's literally it.
Yeah.
No one else.
I don't even think, anyway, it quotes, "What if I put out there that I'm available as a sex worker for people I know for highly discounted rates?"
Oh my god.
Yeah, Violet, now a good friend of mine, recently tells me over FaceTime. This is the Thomas Friedman style of what is it? Gregor Samsa awoke from an uneasy sleep on a Sealy Posturpedic. Gotta say the brand of the fucking dumb video chat you're using. Recently over FaceTime, recalling the logic behind her maniac idea. She admits it was both a stab at giving her friends a last chance to fuck, while also raking in as much money as she could before she hit the Big Apple.
She sounds like a narcissist. And also, I would not want to be friends with someone who just views me as a tool for like capital gains.
I just want to like put it out there that in any given like relatively stable group of friends, the number of people who you could turn around to and say like, "Hey, I want to fuck right now," like your return on investment from that particular strategy is going to be low in general.
Yeah, you don't want
How many of your friends do you think you could have sex with right this second, Sam, if you tried? Like
a lot.
Really? I think this is I think people misestimate this number. I think it's like if it was going to happen, it would have already happened.
Well, what if it's already happened to a lot of
Sure. Yeah, no. I mean, but then you're into a slightly different territory.
But no, I mean, I mean, with a lot of my like close friends, I would say probably very few, because I would rather be friends with people I don't just view as like sexual like hookups.
Well,
Instead, people I want to like have an actual relationship with.
Sure, and not those are even mutually exclusive. I'm just saying that like there's a sense of like if this is your last chance to fuck, but you got to pay. This is already bizarre. Yeah, well, sorry. So yeah, if you add on that, then it's fucking nobody. So keep in mind that the premise of this entire article is that like this aberration, this bizarre distortion of how the world would otherwise be if not for a sick, deep pathology, where you would just turn around to random friends of yours and start advertising, "You can pay money to fuck me before I leave."
I'd be like, bang.
Yeah, the idea that, you know, if there weren't just something deeply wrong with the world, you would get a lot of takers for this. And I claim this is the fundamental miscalculation of this article, but it gets worse.
Well, it's so narcissistic to think, oh, I'm so hot, all my friends want to have sex with me, like.
Right, as I say, like if you sort of are of a certain age and a certain sort of social milieu, right? Then like the idea that sort of if there was mutual attraction and unresolved sexual tension, it probably would have resolved itself. It's possible.
Also, no grown man pays for a 25-year-old sex worker. They go for like a 19, 18-year-old. Come on.
Yeah, or if you're in the Democratic Party leadership, you go for a 12-year-old.
I've watched enough Law and Order SVU to realize that's way too fucking old to be a prostitute. Like if you're a man, it's different, but
thank goodness you're saying that I've still got some mileage on the.
Yeah.
Where are we?
Right here.
Violet took to Instagram stories. Of course she did.
The
vibe check these guys. Sorry, just the writing in this is just fucking insufferable. To vibe check these guys. If you're someone who supports sex work at an intellectual level, would you ever hire a sex worker yourself? She wrote. She assumed that her peers, millennial Zoomer cusps with art degrees and hard-ons for progressive politics, would be prime clients. Apparently they had hard-ons for progressive politics, not for her. Whoops. God, these people just like death, instant death. Take them out to the city square and execute them if these
Maybe
people
Lenin
exist in your community.
Lenin was right in killing.
Lenin was absolutely right on this point alone.
He didn't actually kill him, but it's fun
yeah,
to
that is not true. But wait, anyway, after all, as youngish liberals, really are they? They seem to overwhelmingly support sex work and the decriminalization of their profession. Yeah, they're neoliberals. They just support the marketization of sex. Like, hi, we're friends, but how much do you actually value my friendship? Because if you're not willing to pay for it, then do you really value it? Is it really a friendship? Fuck these people.
Also, like, the idea of supporting decriminalization means you want to have sex with a prostitute. Like, I support decriminalization.
A prostitute who you also know personally and socially.
Yeah, I would never pay for sex, and I would never pay for a prostitute.
Well, you're part of the problem, Sam.
Yeah.
No, I just love the idea that like you're literally you're talking about your friends, and then one of your friends turns around and says, "Please pay me for sex," and then gets mad when there are no takers.
Well, it's
Weird.
mad. They write an article about all of you.
Them and their friend write an article together.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to find my place again. 'Cause I'm getting so worked up on this. Thank God. Okay. After all, as youngish liberals, they seem to overwhelmingly support sex work and the decriminalization of their profession, and they were right in line with those of others in their demographic categories. According to a January survey by Data for Progress, which, if you're not familiar with Data for Progress, that's Sean McElwee, Biden booster extraordinaire. Like, he grifted his way from being like, I'm part of the left, to I'm a Bernie bro, to actually Elizabeth Warren's the best, and now he's like, all Biden all the time. He's like the model for any grifter. So anyway, Data for Progress is his weird, like, shitty left-wing think tank. So they did a January survey. More than half of American men, 58%, oh, that's more than half, and about 2/3 of 20-somethings of all genders are down with the New Zealand model.
Yay.
Which removes criminal penalties for selling and paying for sex. More than 3/4 of quote-unquote very liberal folks also claim to throw their support behind it.
I just want to point this out. If they're like, I think people are like, oh, we're proud feminists. Why didn't they put the stat in for women? Like, they didn't put that in. Men shouldn't be deciding, like, if you're like
it
a
would
feminist.
It would be interesting to at least hear whether
it's probably much lower, and that's why they didn't put it in, because
it doesn't quite fit the narrative.
They're white feminists and they're all swerves and blah blah blah. It's like,
all right, we're gonna keep going through the slog.
A man approves of my life choices, so it's okay. I'm a feminist.
Well, I mean, the thing is, this is a love letter addressed to the men who will not fuck the author and their friend.
Yeah.
Their friend was their name Violet.
Yeah.
So despite stereotypes of Johns being unattractive older men, some research shows that clients of sex workers tend to have their first experience of paid sex when they're young, hot, and in their 20s. How do you know they're hot?
That's subjective.
Yeah. Despite having more opportunities for sex than their more aged counterparts. In 2 different studies, 3/4 of arrested Johns and slightly less than half of online clients using sex work review websites first paid for sex with a sex worker when they were between the ages of 18 and 29. Yeah, that's when your like stockbroker father takes you to a brothel and pays for, a prostitute to deflower you at the age of 18. Is that not how everyone lives?
Well, I just want to say,
right, comrades?
Everyone I know who's had actually paid for sex is either in prison or is an ANCAP. So, what did that tell you?
In other words, the numbers suggested that more of Violet's followers should have been down with paid sex, but that's not how demographics works.
No.
All right, so we've just said, like, she has some followers on Instagram who are predominantly young, and some different studies showed that people who got arrested as Johns were more than half of them first paid for a sex worker when they were between 18 and 29, and therefore more of Violet's followers should have been down with paid sex. No, they absolutely should not have. The woke guys in her social circle who responded weren't bringing the same kind of hoorah they had for the idea of standing in solidarity with sex workers, and exactly none of them offered to cough up cash. So nobody took up this offer.
Well, you know how I support decriminalization of heroin, but I haven't done any heroin yet.
Wow, so you're not offering to cough up cash for heroin in spite of your.
That's a good point, actually. I'm gonna go buy some heroin, guys. I'll be back in an hour.
Yeah, otherwise you're not living your truth. So just the interesting.
So stupid.
Well, this is incredibly stupid. But the interesting thing here is that they invoke the word solidarity, which this is a deliberate misunderstanding what solidarity means.
Commercialization of that idea.
Yeah, this is just not buying. This is being mad that people are not consuming the product you're offering.
They're not viewing sex as a consumerist product that you can just buy. And also,
or you're not selling what they want. Keep in mind, it could be that these people, like the specific followers of Dear Violet, are paying for sex with sex workers on the daily. They just don't do it with this particular person, either because they know her personally, or they're not into her, but they're into like.
What if a lot of her friends sound like they're just a bunch of gay men? Like they're like,
Who
oh, we're
knows?
woke gay liberals, and we're friends with the sex workers.
They
and
don't have any money. They gave it all to Elizabeth Warren's campaign anyway.
Also, like if they are straight, I don't trust most guys who identify as woke because they're usually just like
they're abusers.
Scumbags. But also, I wouldn't be surprised if they hold more traditionalist views than they actually report to have, and maybe they're just not.
Whoa, I believe it digs into that.
They might not be wanting to have sex with someone who is transgender. Like it could be that. It could be
totally.
I don't.
The funny thing is, had this article been written as a, "Hey, I'm a transgender sex worker, and I tried to fuck all my friends, and none of them would," and I don't know if it's because it was for money or because for like, reasons of actual sort of like soft bigotry or unwillingness. That would almost be a more interesting article.
Yeah, honey,
but
fly to Dubai. They make a lot of money there.
Right, but the idea being that this is just a fucking referendum on the left, on leftist men, and
Liberals.
of course, and sorry, woke. It's interchangeably using liberals,
And the left.
woke boys, and the left, and then quote is citing Data for Progress, which I think means far right. So where are we? Sorry, that left her confused. If these young dudes were politically rooting for sex workers, holy shit, for sex workers, and are in the period of their lives when they're most likely to first see one, that is not what that statistic said.
That's not how math works.
No, that is absolutely not. That statistic simply said that all of the fucking. I'm not. No, it's okay. Our listeners are clever enough to see why that's a fallacy.
Yeah.
Anyway, the period of their lives when they're most likely to first see one, why weren't they seizing en masse the opportunity for one of Violet's bargain bin BJs?
That sounds sad. No one wants a bargain bin BJ.
That is the worst phrase I've ever seen committed to paper. Like
imagine being at like a party, like, hey, do you want a bargain
would you
bin
like a
BJ?
bargain bin BJ?
I'd be like, is this discounted? Like, is this not a high quality? Because bargain bin doesn't sound like good quality. It sounds like
no, it
cheap
means
shit.
the opposite. It means cheap. And
maybe she's a cheap whore.
I mean, apparently she is. Apparently, it's bargain bin. I'm just trying to imagine, like, how'd your date with Brad go? Oh, yeah. Wow, did you go all the way? No, I got a BJ. Oh, how was it? Oh, bargain bin. Fuck off. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm with marketing like this, I'm surprised people are clamoring for the bargain bin BJs being handed out on Instagram.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Has she not heard of Cesta Fossa? She can get in trouble for that.
Yeah, you could just compromise our beautiful Instagram. Seizing. Yeah, they weren't seizing en masse. Ugh. Oh, now I know how the sentence ends. That's even a grosser start. Why weren't they seizing en masse the opportunity for one of Violet's bargain bin PJs, or those of their friendly neighborhood sex worker, for that matter?
Wow.
I know. Are they bargain bin sex workers? Good God.
Oh, you don't want a high quality prostitute? We'll go to the bargain bin and see what you can find.
Oh.
Want me to start reading?
No, I'm
Okay.
still, believe me, I'm powering through here. Sorry, I just had to draw a breath because I know it's now moving into, I think what corporate leadership retreats call solutioning.
This is an HR piece on why
Yeah.
you should have sex with the sex workers in your office.
Yes. Some have pragmatic excuses, of course. I don't have the money. I don't want sex that bad. I can get pussy without paying for it. They DM'd Violet. Yeah, I mean those are all completely legitimate reasons to not hire a sex worker friend off Instagram who's offering bargain bin BJs.
These are hipster mullet Bernie bros. They're all eating avocado toast. They can't afford sex.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, so let's unpack these just because right, I don't have the money. Wow, so they're just shaming poor people now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Classist.
I don't want sex that bad. And I feel like, she's giving out BJs. Maybe they want the, full service.
Oh yeah,
maybe
she's only
they're-
giving BJs. Who the
maybe-
fuck wants this a BJ? Like, if you're gonna pay
Who
money,
knows? Exactly. See, that's so like it could just be she's not, what they want is not on the menu. Or I can get pussy without paying for it. Well, this is a deeply neoliberal article, and so I think it's really sad that they're not acknowledging that the pricing of commodities is actually just based on market supply and demand. And so, unfortunately, if there's other suppliers who are offering, an equivalent or superior product at a lower price, then I'm sorry, that's just what the market will bear.
Gian, you have a lemon tree. Why aren't you paying for lemons?
It's true.
It's exactly.
I look forward to my local grocer, writing a long, thoughtful piece about why woke men aren't paying for lemons.
No one's gonna pay for something they can just get. That's the whole point of like decommodification. That's the whole point of like leftism, is to not like commodify everything. What do you like? This is so stupid. This person just like a complete narcissist. Like, instead of like being like, maybe people don't want to pay for sex because they view me as like just their friend. Like, instead, they are trying to not pay for this thing that they can
They
get
all
for free.
want. Statistically,
They all
9 out of 10
want-
should want to fuck me, and they don't want to fuck me, so they are the problem.
Yeah. Honey, you're the problem. You're a narcissist. You're a worse narcissist than Donald Trump. And I mean that completely honest. Like, imagine being so narcissistic. You're like, oh, everyone actually wants to have sex with me, and these men didn't. So there's something clearly wrong, and I'm going to tell my other sex worker friend who's going to write an article on a magazine about why masculinity is like problematic, and then just like completely scold them to a bunch of people. Like, no men's reading this. I found this on like a shit posting tweet. This is all for like feminist, like liberal dumbasses, and they're like, oh, see, the men are getting better. It's like, if you want a man who reads the article, they're gonna be a fucking cuckold, and they're not gonna have sex with you.
These are not the men that are gonna fuck you.
Like,
sorry.
if a man was like, oh, I read this, I'd be like, yeah, you should just kill yourself. Like, here's the blade. Here's some
Yeah, who the fuck is reading this? Nobody. It's us. We are the ones. It's only people like spite reading this. This is just designed to be spite read.
Yeah.
All right, so
I'm sorry, that was a rant, but it was.
I don't mean to go off on a rant here. So the people were DMing Violet their excuses. None of those excuses surprise sex therapist and sex work researcher Christine Milrod. So they actually consulted an actual expert, and just wait for this, because she is not picking up what they're putting down. Christine Milrod says, they're young, they're millennials or zoomers, and they don't need to pay for sex work because they can just go on an app, she says. When I ask them for my own research, they respond, because I don't have to.
Yeah.
Right, so just keep in mind that this, like, they finally, for fucking 5, 6, 7 paragraphs in, they brought in a therapist and sex work researcher who was like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. And now they're like, no, but it's also more than that.
Well,
Yeah.
Imagine writing the piece and knowing all the facts and be like, I'm still going to mention all of this. Like, I'm low key, like, R word, and I wouldn't even write that. I've written pieces before, and
Yeah, you've written some bad bad articles, but never anything this bad.
but they're high quality writing. It's just opinions. Actually, I don't disagree with most of my articles, but we can touch on it.
I do. No, I'm sorry, but anyways, just the point being, this article could have ended there. It would have been hilarious if it's just a conclusionary sentence being like, anyway, so it turns out they don't have to, so they don't. But it continues. But it's also more than that. As 2 trans girls, that is parenthetically, that's the author and Violet are both trans women who, it goes on to say, keep leftist male hotties in their company and turn tricks as a side hustle. Yep, so both of them are in this boat.
Wow, they all have all male hotties with mullets, and
Hold me back.
and they're woke. They sound horrible.
Woke liberals with mullets who live in Portland. Gag me. Violet and I have both observed that our peers can't get their politics straight. For one, these guys support decriminalizing sex work because they're feminists, but they also seem to not pay for sex because they're feminists. The emphasis is literally on both becauses there, and I don't know what to do about that. To that end, one particular response to Violet's Instagram story by a decriminalization supporter stuck out to me. So they were just combing through Violet's Instagram like DMs to write this article.
How much you want to bet they actually have? No hot male leftist friends, because that doesn't exist.
How much do you want to bet they're just the same person?
Yeah.
I think the author and Violet are the same person is my personal hypothesis in this.
How many hot straight male leftists can you think of in Portland with mullets? None.
Yeah,
exactly. They're not real.
Sorry. So the response to Violet's Instagram story by a decriminalization supporter stuck out to me. It said something to the effect of, wait. Everything else in here has been direct quotes, and now it said something to the effect of.
Oh, so it's a paraphrase.
So we're paraphrasing now. My mom taught me to respect women. Okay. No. But isn't respecting women paying them to do their job? Wow. By your own logic, you are owned, sir.
What kind of like fucked up mindset is that to be like, oh, I need to be paid to have sex with you? Oh my God. Like
it is not my job to have sex with you unless it is my job, in which case you fuck off. It seems that some of these men's theoretical recognition of women's abilities to make decisions for their own body ends up being overridden by skepticism of a sex worker's ability to consent. That's literally not even what that paraphrase says.
No. But also, like, the skepticism's not completely unfounded. Like,
my mom taught me to just, like, not engage with crazy people on Instagram who are propositioning me for sex.
Yeah, like, oh my God. Yeah, I have nothing else to say about that. I just can't. I'm just like,
there's just so much going on here, and the feminist politics put forth by sex worker activists locate the imperative. Oh, we've used the verb to locate. Okay. Locate the imperative for sex work decriminalization at the intersection. Wait, where's the air horn sample? Fuck. At the intersection of racial, gender, economic, and immigrant justice. Anything missing from there? I don't. What else could intersect with any of those things?
Class? No, that doesn't sound right.
Know. That sounds Nazbol.
That sounds Nazbol as fuck.
Anyway, the recent policy platform signed by major progressive organizations. If you had your bingo card, progressive, please mark it off. Argue that decriminalization, quote, removes people from cycles of arrest, incarceration, criminal records, and or deportation that prevent them from accessing healthcare and building economic stability, allows people in the sex trades to seek legal remedies for violence and exploitation, and encourages sex workers to negotiate and organize for safety and better working conditions. Okay, there's nothing to hate about that.
No, so this is the issue. I believe in decriminalization. Like, any people think we're like, oh, I want to like ban it because I'm like critical of it from a systemic class viewpoint. I don't want it criminalized. I don't want to put prostitutes in prison. I don't really give a fuck what people do to survive because it is not very different than having to be a sweatshop worker.
Right. This policy platform thing, for the record, is some like lib thing, but it's totally right. This is true.
But it's different to say, oh, I support this policy for harm reduction versus I'm going to actually enable this thing otherwise. Like, it's like the drug criminalization thing. Like, I don't do hard drugs like meth and heroin, but I think it should be decriminalized so it could be medically like provided. The same way I think you should decriminalize prostitution and create systems to allow women or men to not have to work in jobs that are either dangerous or just not fulfilling. Like, that's the whole point of a leftism project, is to let people do what they want to do, not
right. It improve human flourishing.
Yeah.
Also
the immigrant justice thing. A lot of them are trafficked here. Like, that's like they're not going to be going for the legal process if it is decriminalized. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, certainly you would. There's some other dare I say it, intersecting concerns with that particular one. But,
yeah.
We're back to our friend. What's her name? Christine Milrod.
Milrod, right there.
Yep. Milrod has a therapy client who is emotionally, quote, tortured by end quote, paying trans women for sex, even though he keeps going back for more. Quote, oh my God, I'm assaulting them. End quote. Whoa, heavy. Milrod says, describing his line of thinking. Oh, wait, that's another paraphrase. And that's because his mother drilled into him that women have the same rights as men, that he needs to be a good feminist. Essentially, his mother's thought process seems to assume that being paid to suck and fuck subordinates the worker to the payer.
It does.
Gee, do you think paying for something like changes the relationship between workers and those who are paying them to work? That's weird. Why would that be a thing?
It's like the same reason I would never pay for like a maid in my house. It makes me so uncomfortable to feel like someone's like, because you get the feeling of like, oh, someone's no longer at an equal standing point as me. They're another person doing the thing.
Just to be clear, like whomst amongst us doesn't like take a fucking Uber or something and then feel bad about it afterwards?
Totally.
I do. I'm that guy.
I hate taking Ubers. I only do it because like in San Francisco, Oakland area, I can't always take public transit.
Public transit is, dysfunctional as it is in many parts of the fucking country. But the point being, I would describe myself as emotionally tortured by paying Uber drivers for like rides. And yet I keep going back for more. Oh my God, I'm assaulting them, I say to my therapist.
Also, this person's mad that a man is viewing a woman as their equal, and that's why they don't want to view them as like a sex like product. Like,
well, it would certainly you would have to ask what it like. It is dismissed out of hand the idea here that a man who felt morally or ethically conflicted about paying sex workers for sex, that he does not regard as particularly, I don't know, ethical, apparently.
yeah.
That we're just meant to sidestep the question of why does he think that? And we're saying it's because his mother fucked him up, I believe. Essentially, his mother's thought process seems to assume, yeah, it's okay. So we're just saying that he has no agency of his own to say that he's actually mistreating women. It's just that his mother fucked him up. So yet again, it's women's fault, ladies and gentlemen.
This is like the most anti-feminist.
It is a men's magazine, apparently, a magazine for male feminists who have terrible misogynistic thoughts about women.
There's no poll on women's thoughts on sex work. There's like blaming the mothers for teaching their sons that women are equal, and like,
well, yeah, but yeah, how dare mothers teach their sons things that make their sons believe that their own behavior in their private lives is compromising.
It gets better.
Interesting.
Let's just keep reading and we'll get to why that's an issue.
Oh, God.
It's not just with their mothers. There's another reason.
All right. Walter, Violet's roommate and an artist formerly on the payroll of teen feminism's Bible, Rookie, heard something similar as a kid.
Rapist.
Wow. There's a lot to unpack in that sentence. For one, what the fuck is Rookie? Does teen feminism have a Bible?
I don't know, but
how did I miss it?
This man's not trustworthy.
All right. Despite now being a huge fan of strip clubs and paid cam shows, let's oh fuck. All right, huge fan. Not just he. Yeah, okay, huge fan of strip clubs and paid cam shows. He says he's, quote, never purchased sex work. Because the feminism my mom raised me on was traditional white feminism, and that meant leave that girl alone. Wait, so he paid cam shows and strip clubs. He's never purchased sex work.
I don't believe that for a second.
Well, or he's like the worst client.
And also, he has paid for sex work. He's paid for strippers.
Strip clubs and paid cam shows, apparently.
That's sex work.
Or he's not paying, and that's worse. Oh, fuck me. All right, so anyway. So we've just got this out of... So keep in mind, this author, who is BFFs with Violet, so far has quoted a therapist and sex work researcher and then completely ignored the things they said, and then has now moved on to Violet's roommate, Walter. We've really got the really doing a lot of sort of first-hand investigative journalism here. Anti-prostitution activist Melissa Farley dramatically articulated the sentiments of these boomer moms.
Okay,
Okay, boomer.
Totally.
In a 2004... Wait, sorry. If Melissa Farley was articulating the sentiments of boomer moms in 2004, 16 years ago, were they, like, is that still boomer?
They're
How
still
old?
boomers, but they're not.
No, but I'm just trying to figure out, like, they
They're
wouldn't have the
young.
wouldn't have the cultural connotation in 2004. They would be, like, early middle-aged, largely.
Yeah.
Okay, so boomer, it's also capitalizing boomer and moms. In his 2004 Psychiatric Times article, alleged to be a, wait, what the fuck? Sorry. Alleged to be a feminist. Feminist is in scare quotes. By Wikipedia. Oh, fuck, we're really breaking out the investigative tools here. All right, so we read about Melissa Farley on Wikipedia, and I assume Googled a quote from 2004. Really pushing up against a copy deadline here, I assume. Alleged to be a, scare quotes, feminist by Wikipedia. She claimed that sex work is, quote, paid rape, quote, regardless of the worker's voluntary and consensual decision to do the labor and the client's kindness and respect for her. All right, so the point being, that particular position, the idea that, like, the kind of there's a long strand of like a strand of sort of feminist thought that runs through much earlier than 2004 Psychiatric Times articles.
It goes back to,
about the idea that sex is effectively rape, right?
I mean, there's prior to Marx. Like, it's so
there's
old.
there's a long thread of so here's the best part. So clearly we clicked on a few articles in the Melissa Farley Wikipedia entry. Wait, sorry, there's a link on Melissa Farley. Oh yeah, it just goes to the Wikipedia entry. Great, perfect. We're doing this is quality. Keep in mind, this is what Vox called the best male feminist fucking. All right. Today, hostility towards decriminalization is fueled by, among others, the National Organization of Women, now, a group founded by the patron saint of white boomer feminism, Betty Friedan. And now supported by another white boomer feminist matriarch, Gloria Steinem.
They just hate women. Like,
this is misogynistic. This article, it's making me very deeply uncomfortable.
So my thing is, I don't give a fuck if you do like OnlyFans or sex work or whatever, and I'm never gonna shame
blow your
anyone.
fans on Instagram.
Like,
whatever.
I literally don't give a fuck. My issue is this like neoliberal like strategy around the issue, and I think people misconstrue the ideas of both. It's like, oh, you hate like sex workers and things should be just like criminalized. Like, no, I don't care. I don't care what you do. I just don't want people to be forced into like wage slavery.
I just think also like sort of if you're trying to take a feminist sort of like if you're trying to unpick maybe some like history of like feminist opposition to sex work in general, you might want to be able to do a little better job of teasing apart Betty Friedan and Gloria Steinem.
Yeah.
These two people do not agree with each other on much at all. And so just sort of glossing them into the same sentence as, and literally fully capitalized white, capitalized boomer, capitalized feminism.
That's not a thing.
And we have now completely encapsulated the views of both Betty Friedan and Gloria Steinem by saying they are doing white boomer feminism. Which, like, honestly, there's a lot to disagree with both of them about, but you could at least be just basically conversant with like what it is they're coming from. I don't know. This feels disingenuous at this point.
They don't even explain it.
Anyway, Betty Friedan and Gloria Steinem, the white boomer feminists, they're in favor of the so-called Nordic model for decriminalization, which prescribes the continued criminalization of customers but not providers.
So arrest the Johns, not the girls.
Yeah, I'm going to skip over this part because it's just a fucking, I don't know, it's boring shit about Nordic model stuff. All right, here we go. Are we on the home stretch here? Holy shit, this is long.
Yeah, just go to the end.
All right. For Violet, when dirtbag lefties like Walter, you'll remember, this is her roommate, are courting her in her romantic life. Wait a minute. So this is like, keep in mind it's already like out to the outside of sort of normal to have like roommates fucking each other.
Do not fuck your
Don't
roommates.
fuck your roommates, right? This is already like just don't stick your dick in crazy territory.
She's crazy as shit.
Yeah, don't stick your dick in the people who write long think pieces for anonymous male masculinity studies magazines. For Violet, when he's also apparently he's a dirtbag lefty now. I guess aside from all her Bernie bro mullet wearing liberal friends.
Can you be a woke dirtbag? That's like, I don't know.
Oh fuck!
They just keep changing the words and nothing makes any
mishmash.
sense.
Yeah. When dirtbag lefties like Walter are courting her in her romantic life, she's found that they feel like they have to get it. And then there's a parenthetical here, which I still do not know how to parse. Quote, it being missionary.
What?
I don't understand.
What kind of straight man? What? It's like,
is fantasizing about missionary sex.
That's so boring.
Well, no, but it's more like it's so specific. This is a note that somebody meant to leave on the fridge for their roommate, passive aggressively in a manic phase.
You only want it missionary.
You want a missionary sex. I find you when you're courting me. You just have to get it. Anyway, but for whatever reason, to them, ass is better slow cooked, not microwaved. That's just a culinary truth.
Who wants a microwaved meal?
Yeah, who wants microwaved ass?
She really likes to like downgrade her sex work.
Yeah,
it's like
microwaved. I don't.
She's not selling it. Like if I was a straight man, I'd be like, this sounds disgusting as shit. It's bargain bin. It's microwave.
Bargain bin microwave.
Like, hey, do you want some bargain bin microwave popcorn?
Advertised on Instagram. Yeah. So.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And also, keep in mind, they're getting blowjobs. They're only getting ass.
They're not getting anything.
Yeah, and it's neither slow cooked nor microwaved. It's a bargain bin BJ. Yeah, it's just bizarre.
Oh my god.
So much of it is them feeling cool and valuable, earning the attraction of someone. She says, which is a super 1950s kind of vibe. Yeah, what man wants to feel like that people are attracted to them? And that there's mutual interest or attraction.
This is why incels are a thing. Not her, but like this idea of like, oh, relationships being like a competitive market and that being totally acceptable and what they're advocating. Like men, just like women, want to feel valued and important and loved. They don't want to feel like, oh, you're only here because I'm paying you like, I don't know, I'm assuming like $20 for a bargain bin blowjob.
But this is also in her romantic life. This is not in her professional life.
It's so sad.
She's saying that she's expressing wonder and disbelief that men want to feel cool and valuable, and that they want to feel like they've earned the attraction of someone.
I think she just mentally.
And wait, what she's saying is the super 1950s kind of vibe. Yes, as men wanting to be wanted or wanting to feel like they have wooed somebody. Yeah, that's. I think she's so 1950s.
She's projecting. That's
fucked up.
I don't think she feels like relationships are meant to be about being valued and cared about and loved. She clearly doesn't think the same for men. So either she has like a very fucked up view of men and women, or she just doesn't value herself. And I don't mean that.
This is unhealthy. There's something that's like pathology on display.
Go get a therapist.
So we're back to so that was Violet. Violet's profound thoughts on what is totally a 1950s vibe. Now we're back to the author. It says, from my own seasoned sexuality, is it microwaved and seasoned?
It's bargain bin seasoning.
Bargain bin seasoning. Woke guys seem to love courting gals, flexing emotional sensitivity, and disgust at the Kavanaugh hearings. Yeah, that's what I break out on the first date.
Hey, what are your
but bailing once the bussy is scored. Again, they have their feminisms mixed up. Yes, it's the men who have the feminisms mixed up here. They probably hear their mom saying, be a gentleman, open the door for her, in one ear. And is it Kaya? Who's?
I don't remember. I don't care.
I expect you know this. Cooing my neck, my back in the other. Let's just unpack that one a little bit.
These people are fucked in the head. Like,
why did we do this to ourselves, Sam? The problem is, when I sort of like was reading this, I thought it felt long, but we have been going for almost an hour now.
But we're just gonna cut it there.
No, wait. I
Okay.
feel like there's really a great little end, and they tie it off here
Just
because
read
it's
the end, yeah.
yeah. Ready? Questioning my sorry, I just have to point out there's like another 100 fucking paragraphs in the middle of this bullshit. You can read it yourself. We'll link it,
Yeah.
and don't read it. Questioning why more woke guys aren't budgeting their non-profit salaries for professional sex instead of Bernie's pleas for $2.70 isn't an investigation into their solidarity's legitimacy, except for the preceding 30 paragraphs about investigating their solidarity's legitimacy. Sure, I think woke guys, male feminists, could benefit from some more self-reflection. And when it comes down to it, my pursuit is self-serving. I think I just want to fuck leftists and get paid to do it. Okay, so stop hanging around with liberals.
If you want, none of the men who pay for sex are like gonna be class conscious people. I mean, these people are probably, maybe they are. Maybe they're all actually like dirtbag class conscious lefties, and that's why they don't want to pay for sex. Go find like some conservative Republican congressman or some like I've seen examples of like men who I actually sympathize paying for sex, and it's usually like it was a show with some British guy who's heavily disabled, and the government pays them so they can afford a prostitute like once in a while in like Netherlands. Like in that case, I'm like, oh, I feel sympathy to you. I still disagree on a certain level because it's not addressing the root cause of loneliness and whatever. But this is a bad article. It's amazing, but I hate it.
It is a beautiful train wreck. I can't help but feel like there's a lot of like personal pathology going on here.
It's not about the men. It's about her.
There's nothing else going on here. This is a weird rant and I don't know, in this weird anonymous publication, and we're reading it out, so fuck knows what we're doing. But I think the thing is you can be actually pretty morally ambivalent about sex work as a thing that exists in the world, and you can think that that the plight of people who do sex work for reasons that are good, bad, exploitative, or liberated, or their own, or their pimps, like whatever. You can kind of be like, yes, I actually do not want those people to suffer, right? And I would like their lives to be as fulfilled as possible, because I want everyone's lives to be fulfilled as possible and as free of unpleasantness and pain. But the weird part is just to say that you're starting to like these are people who work at nonprofits and hold farewell tours in Portland in their primary colored wardrobes, and then start like offering to suck dicks on Instagram for money, and then get paid to write pieces like this. It's pretty depressing, honestly. Well, it's not a good emissary for the sex worker community.
Well, what makes me irritated as well is this idea of like, for one, sex work is a relatively new term, and it's utilized to encompass everyone who does anything sexual. So it's everyone from the like street prostitute in Thailand to the OnlyFans girl who is doing it out of her parents' like mansion or penthouse or whatever. And the reality is, it's so relative in like how what the relations are. There's no class involved in any of this.
I think there's class involved.
No, I meant in this article.
Yeah, no, I'm saying this. I think there's class involved in this article. It's just it's extremely. The class is professional and managerial.
Yeah, but like I think in whatever a liberated world there could be sex work and stuff like, but the reality is people who are paying for sex, most people who are prostituting are not doing it out of their own free will. They're doing it because of economic circumstances. Like
because they can't pay rent.
Like I've been reading a lot about the Czech porn industry for gay men for an episode coming out in the future, and it's literally horrible. Like most of the men who are like 18-year-olds are people kicked out of like homes once they like foster homes at 18, or people that run away, and a lot of them just like become addicted to like meth and get abused and stuff.
We watched Mandragora, which is that amazing it's a movie that dramatizes another documentary made by the same director, the Czech director, about
Polish.
Oh, sorry, the director's Polish. Sorry, it's about Czech sex workers.
It's horrible.
Yeah, basically runaway teenage male prostitutes in Prague in the early 90s.
Like, stop talking to people who are actual, like, people, the mass majority of people working in the industry. And stop utilizing, like, industries that are relatively established and have some degree of protection to be like, oh, I'm talking for that 14-year-old, like, brown girl outside the Washington, D.C. who has to, like, prostitute for a pimp. And the same as me camgirling. See, we're both doing it for our own free will.
Yeah, we are the same.
It's so, like, mentally horrible.
Well, the fact that this is essentially casting aspersions about the sincerity of solidarity. Well, I certainly have some questions about the sincerity of any solidarity for others engaged in certain kinds of sex work, right? For somebody writing this, this is just a weird fucking, I don't know.
Yeah.
For one, it's just liberalism through and through, down to the fact that it's somebody trying to, like, moderate their social relations with their friends or people they purport to be friends with through money, like through a price mechanism.
This idea of, like,
suck dicks of your friends if you want to, but do it for fun. Do it for your own enjoyment.
Like, these people are, like, alleged feminists, and they're just like, oh, actually, all these feminists probably actually have done a lot more time actually investigating the relations of women and capital and stuff, are all wrong, and they're all problematic. And actually, we're right.
And they all think the same.
Because we're, like, PMC women who chose to be sex workers in Portland. That's sex for leftist dirtbag friends.
They said it's a side hustle.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not their job,
like,
for the record.
Shut up. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. But it's okay. They're not the only crazies. Do you want to keep going?
No, I think let's wrap up there. We'll put I know we're late on this episode. I had a 2-day hangover because I'm old now.
Yeah.
But we'll put out another episode this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we had some more shit to talk about. But
sorry,
like,
that was a very long sex
article.
work episode.
Oh.
I hope you enjoy it, though.
Yeah, I hope you hate it in the same way we do.
I think we should bring an OnlyFans sex worker on our podcast. And if you all agree, you should tell us that.
Sure, I think we can pay $10 a month to get them on the podcast.
It'd be fun.
Let's go on Instagram and see if any of our friends are offering money for blowjobs.
Yeah, well, that's all we have, guys. Bye.
Bye.